Good afternoon, everyone. It is class number 12, July 6th for Tbt Ii C. This is the recording for a third period, but because I screwed up the recording for first and second period, it will have to do for all three classes. Okay, so today I want to have the class a little bit shorter than usual. Up to now, we've been doing a lot of work with speaking. You've been working in pairs, working with Quizlet, working with being able to speak more quickly. But for the next few weeks, you can't see it here, but I'm going to show you in my other mode, my teacher mode. In the next few weeks, July 13th, 20th. Oh, by the way, the 23rd, don't forget, that's a Saturday. And then finally, the test on August 3rd. We don't have many classes. For teaching classes, we have the 13th, the 20th, and the 23rd. That's it. So what I want to make sure is that you guys, let me go back to my student role, is that you guys have enough time to finish these two big assignments. Now, before we talk about those two big assignments, I just want to tell you that for this week, you don't really have that much to do. You have your video lecture and the review exercise for that, and to take the quiz for the PDF from last week. Last week's PDF was Concluding Sentences Part 2, and this week's quiz has that content. You then have the PDF that you will take a quiz for next week. So really this week, there isn't much that you have to do. Just make sure that you hand that in by Saturday. So because this is a very light week, I want to take this class to tell you what you need to know to be able to get these two very important assignments done. So both of these assignments were given to you in class number 2. If you look at class number 2, and you can go there by clicking on these links, but class number 2, these two assignments were down at the bottom, the semester writing task and the listening lab. The listening lab instructions were here, and the listening lab answer sheets were here. So first, let's look at the listening lab. Now, the listening lab instructions, if I remember properly, are, well, okay. Oh, no, that's not it. There it is. The listening lab instructions, if you click here, you're going to get this set of instructions. So basically, you have to answer 100 questions over the entire semester. That doesn't sound like so much if you do it little by little, but if you haven't done this at all, 100 questions is going to be a lot of work. And some of you have been thinking, no, it's okay. It's not due until August 1st. That's true, but 100 questions, even between now and August 1st, is a lot of work. Now, it's your choice. If you've been very busy, you have other reports that you have to do, I understand. But at least I want you to know what it's like to try to do 5 questions, 10 questions. So today, I want to use the extra time after I'm finished talking. I'll probably finish talking at about 1:20. And I want you to work on both the listening lab and this semester writing task. The semester writing task also was supposed to be done all the way from April 26th, 3 months later, to July 27th. So it's something that was supposed to take a very long time. Now, if you haven't checked it out yet, you basically click on here, and there are 2 parts to this. One of them is the writing task instructions. Now, the writing task instructions were all done in Japanese. So it shouldn't be hard for you to understand, but there are a lot of pages here. But most of it is pictures, and it's all written in Japanese. Now, if you haven't done that yet, do it. Get it done. Read this so that then you know what to do for the actual writing task. Now, the writing task itself looks like this. Oops, sorry, it looks like this. So this is what you have. This is similar to what you have to hand in. Now, some of you have already done this, but the first most important thing, number one thing, what do you want to write about? What is your topic? What is your theme? What do you want to research? Maybe you want to research NASA. Maybe you want to research electric cars. I don't know. What do you want to research? After you have your theme, then you can start your research. But if you don't know your theme, you don't even know what the topic is, you will not be able to start researching. And I think that's where most of you have not done your work yet. You haven't decided the topic. Now, once you have the topic, you have to find some journals, some books, and eventually some web pages. So there are two places to write the books and the journal articles. You can write them here, or you can write them here. I suggest just writing them here. So don't use this. There's no point because it's the same information. Put it here and here and here for your web pages instead. Now, when you go to the library, you're going to be able to get the library code that's down here on the back. That will make it easier for you to find the book one more time if you're looking for it. So please remember to write the library code. The title of the engineering journal, all of this, remember, you might have to go and find it again. Now, if you're looking at English journals, the title of the journal will usually be on the very front, but that's not the same as the title of the article. So the title of the journal is this. This is the journal's name. The title of the article is inside the article itself. So don't confuse the two. The author, well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Sometimes there are many of them, but you should be able to find them well. Oh, and what I suggest when you find a good journal is that you actually take a picture. Because if you take a picture, here, let me show you. I'll show you on my phone here. Oh, wait a minute, I can do it from here. Hang on. Okay, stop that. And I'll share from here. Stop. And I'll do my share. Just 1 second, everyone. Okay, so take a picture of this page, but especially the information that you want is this information: the date when it was published, the volume number when it was done, and especially that ISSN number. So there's the volume number, there's the issue number, there's the date. So if you take this picture, you'll be able to make sure that you get all the information. You don't have to go back and get the journal. I would also suggest that if you find an interesting article, you take this picture too, but especially this information down here, the DOI number and the actual information one more time. Take the picture, then that way you'll be able to get all the information that you need. Now, go back here. Now, what I want from you eventually is 5 books, 5 journal articles, 5 web pages, okay? That's going to take the rest of the month because research takes a very long time. But by next week, I want you to have your theme, and I want you to have 2 books chosen, 2 journal articles chosen, and 2 web pages chosen, because I want to show you how difficult it is to actually write up all this information. In Japanese, writing an article has few rules, but in English, there are many, many rules. So I wanted to show you number 1. When you make your book list, when you make your journals list, and when you make your web page list, okay, you have to follow all of these very small rules. And I'll just give you an example, okay? For the journal, if you find an author, the top author, you have to find the author's last name, comma, first initial, second initial, period, period, comma, next writer, last name, first initial, last name, first initial. This all has to go to a list. That period, comma, order is very important. Then the date of publication, then the title of the article, then the title of the journal. And look at the title of the journal. That's what's called italics. It tilts towards the right. Volume number, issue number, page range, All of this is really annoying. All of this is really hard. I don't like it, but I have to do it. When I write articles for my research, I have to write it this way or it's not accepted. Now, Japanese is different, but these are the rules in English. And I'm really sorry, but it will be really handy for you to know this if you want to write for JAXA, if you want to write for Denso and they tell you to write an English article, it's this difficult just to list the books. The English writing itself is also difficult, but listing the books itself is also very hard. So that's why I want you to have 2 of each, 2 books, 2 journal articles, 2 web pages. Now you're probably already thinking, but Mr. Cruz, it's so hard to do research on my topic. I don't know where to begin. So for some of you who have not yet begun, let me show you the easiest place to begin. Let's say you have an idea about what you want to study. But you don't know where the books are. You don't know what the writers are. You don't know where to begin. So here's what I suggest. Just go to the Wikipedia in Japanese. Go to the Wikipedia. Now, what's your topic? Maybe you want to talk about satellites. Maybe you want to talk about concrete. Maybe you want to talk about chemistry. Or maybe you want to talk about artificial intelligence. So take the term artificial intelligence. And look for it in the Wikipedia. Well, the Wikipedia's information is not really so good. You can't really use this in a research article, but it gives you a place to begin thinking. It gives you a lot of links, a lot of places to check, and maybe some information you didn't know. Most importantly, at the bottom of all of these Wikipedia articles, there is a long list of books and journal articles and websites that you can look at yourself to see if they will help you write your paper. This is not a place for you to actually look at this and say, oh, this is how you write a research paper. That's not the Wikipedia. But it will begin by giving you all of these links. Now, all of these links have a number. So those numbers go back to the area here where you see that number right there. That number right there goes back to these numbers that you see here. But when you see that link there, you can see where the information was. You will do something similar in your paper. But I suggest, whatever you do, begin with the Wikipedia, get an idea about some books, get an idea about some journal articles. There are lots of websites here that you can link back to. Check them out, read them, make sure they're good for you, choose the one you want, and bring them to the class next week. Now, some of you are probably only looking at Japanese books. That's okay. Japanese books, no problem. Japanese articles, Japanese websites, that's fine. But you still need this information. And I want you to write this paper for somebody who does not read kanji, does not read hiragana, does not read katakana. So everything that you find in Japanese, for example, Akasaka Sensei's name right here, okay, that, I'm sure that's written as Akasaka. But in this article, it's written in Romaji. And Akasaka Sensei wrote something called Teachings of the Garden. But if the title is in Japanese, then you have to change that to Romaji. That's not translating it, not a translation. You cannot translate her title. Her title is her title. If it said something like Niwa no Damashi, then it has to be Niwadamasi. Okay. Now, in this case, she wrote this in English, so there's an English title. But if there's no English title, then it must be changed to Romaji. So if your question is, Mr. Cruz, can I use Japanese books, Japanese articles? Of course. But you still have to follow these rules, these formats. Is basically what you want to do for the semester writing task for next week. After that, after we get your bibliography done, then you're going to start writing topic sentences, and then you're going to be writing your outline. You have 2 things that you have to hand in for the semester writing task. One is a bibliography, like this, This is a bibliography with a title, the book list, the journal list. I showed you this already. And then the second assignment, which I'll show you next week, is the outline. How to make an outline in English is also very important. I know that's a lot of work. That's why from here, we're going to finish up the class. I want you to use this time to go to the library, find the books you need, find the journal articles, at least 2 each. If you can find 5, great. Bring them all next week. But I want everyone to have a minimum of 2 books, 2 journal articles, and 2 websites for 6 citations each next week. If you finish early, then go ahead and get started on your listening lab. Or maybe you're almost finished your listening lab. Good. Use the rest of the time today to go do the listening lab after you've done some work on the semester writing task, so we're all ready next week. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, well, you can always contact me by my email, jdmcruz@gmail.com, or you can come talk to me here. Otherwise, I suggest that you begin, if you haven't had your topic yet, that you begin by getting on the Wikipedia and finding some basic information. Find that information, then go to the library and find the books that the Wikipedia told you might be useful for you. Okay, good luck with your research, everyone.